Breathe it, hey. Breathe it, hey. Breathe it, hey. Breathe it, hey.
Actually, I first started jiu-jitsu under Raul Alvarez, who's a purple belt, under Renzo Gracie Weston. He's a black belt now. Phenomenal instructor. Transitioned from there to VRMA. Now, it's funny how I found VRMA because my late brother-in-law was a huge MMA fan, humongous MMA fan. Believe it or not, I was not an MMA fan pre-2015. So I was not into it, but my late brother-in-law, he had a rare form of cancer, and I used to take care of him when he was in the hospital, my wife and I used to watch UFC with him. And he was the type of guy that he would stop at like these venues, at like the War Memorial Auditorium in Fort Lauderdale, and watch, MMA fights. Huge fan. He actually lived like right across the street from the War Memorial Auditorium, and he knew about this guy called Vagner. And Wagner's like a Florida staple here. And I remember when I started training jiu-jitsu, I started talking to my brother-in-law about jiu-jitsu because I had a background already in judo, and he would always say, oh, jiu-jitsu is like the baseline of martial arts and MMA. He's like, are you gonna get into MMA? And I'm like, no, man, I don't really want to get into MMA. And I remember when I was training at the previous spot that I was at, my brother-in-law said, you should go train under this guy. His name is Vagner. And I go, who's that? And he goes, he's got a school. It's like right by your house. And at that time, I literally lived like 2 blocks away. I had no idea. This place was like in a small little plaza with a Little Caesars right next to it. And he gave me money actually to pay for my first year of tuition. And I get emotional because he has passed away. But I remember that when I finally decided to start training, we found out that January of 2017 that he had passed away. And I kind of threw it off to the side, put it off on the back burner. And I remember that he had told me that I should start training under Vagner and things like that. So in that year, I went to VRMA and I started training, and I never stopped. We're gonna bring our hips into our chest. That's gonna break our partner down. Now, if they're actually connected to our rib area, then we're just gonna open up. Think of gi, right? So we're right here. Now we go underhook. Watch. See how I have the underhook? Almost like I'm going in for a sumigation right here. But what I'm doing is I'm grabbing at the scapula. This is gonna allow me now to transition, and look how my hips are fully engaged, okay? My hips are engaged here. I come in, hammer down, I have the arm, okay? Now, I can grab at his thumb area, let go of this inside arm, which allows me to grab at his tricep, and now transition immediately into the omoplata, all right? One of the things you wanna be able to do in your jiu-jitsu is to build sequencing, all right? Sequencing is so important in order to develop a strong jiu-jitsu game. From here, my partner postures up. As he postures up, I hammer back that way, and now I lock in on the triangle. A constant continuity in that flow. So let's continue this warm-up, guys. Keep that constant connection. I want you to stay at a point, even if you gotta go slow. You saw how that pace that I was using right there? I'm not going, super fast. Just keep that one constant pace. You use that constant pace. All right, let's go. I'll tell you that I think I have like an interesting dynamic when it comes to the passion for jiu-jitsu. I'll tell you that this sport in particular is to me more than just a sport. It's a way of life. It is a community. It is something that I've been able to develop relationships with. While I do train at VRMA, I consider myself, one of these people who really tries to reach out and extend with hands into every sector of this jiu-jitsu community, because, I really believe that there's power in building relationships with other people. As far as teaching, I have a passion to teach. I think it's kind of a gifting that's inside of me. I was clergy for over 14 and a half years, and I've always had a passion for people, always had a passion to get back to people, always had a passion to learn something and then grasp that and then give it back. I always believe that you're not really effectively learning something until you can effectively teach whatever you have learned. All right. So again, we're here in this position. We'll just go right into the lock. All right, so a couple of things I noticed that some of you guys are struggling with. Again, back engagement. I preach this a lot to the guys that that I coach. Posture, 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 posture. Posture is important. Okay, the same breaking concept of what I'm doing when I'm hitting like a deadlift or a squat. I have to keep my back muscles engaged. If they're not engaged, then all I'm gonna be doing is this, look. I don't even know if I know how to do it like that. Yeah. All I'm doing is this, look. And I'm pulling. You see how I'm just pulling? So what I like to do is I visualize like this, my hand is welded to my chest, like it doesn't move, okay? Like this is all one piece, all right? Almost like when you're hitting a kimura, and as you're hitting the kimura, the elbows trapped right here so that you're lifting with the chest and not with your arm muscles, all right? I'm keeping this as one piece. So all this stays together. If you notice, I noticed some of you guys were going like this. You see how my arm is staying all the way down here, but my back is all the way down, all the way up here? Now, watch this difference. You see how it stays connected? So now when I go to finish, it's all one piece.